What's going on, everybody? Brett here, and we're back with another update on Battle Brothers, courtesy of Overhype Studios. I love that they put these out every Friday, and we get to know a little bit more about the upcoming Warriors of the North DLC. So this update includes a bit of information about the DLC and a bit of the information about what we can expect as part of the FLC. So that's free content for those of you guys who aren't hip with the acronyms, but also, before I get reading, if you hear a dog barking in the background, his name is Grover, and he is a white Samoyed, and he is big, and he is currently being dog sat by us, and he's in our backyard right now, barking away. So hopefully that doesn't bother you as I read through this pretty short update, but one that I think is going to add a lot of flavor to upcoming playthroughs. So, named equipment. Chasing after named items can be fun and a driving motivator in the later parts of a campaign. At the same time, things can always be improved, and so we're doing some tweaks on both how named items are placed and what stats they can and cannot have. And while we're at it, we're adding more named variants of existing equipment and filling in some blank spots. Take a look. I think that's awesome. There are lots of blank spots currently in terms of named equipment, and nothing feels worse than getting a piece of rare equipment after playing for an hour or 2 hours and you finally are able to hunt one down, and it's just something that you either can't use or it's an amazing piece of armor, but it's like stats, its randomized stats are terrible. So hopefully they're finding a way to address that and make it a little more consistent, and that seems like what they're doing. So it says, as nice it is to have named equipment, not every piece you fought a hard battle over is always a satisfying reward. That's true. That's what I just said. With weapons in particular, there's quite a difference in how useful individual stats are, and therefore how good a named weapon actually is. Yeah, and in my campaign I'm currently playing, there are a number of times where I either find a weapon or buy one that I'm just looking at it, and because it looks cool, I can't help myself. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes the weapons just aren't that much better than, let's say, you find a long sword that just isn't that much better than a noble sword. You know, maybe it just has higher durability and a little bit less fatigue, and it's like, well, is that really worth, you know, 20,000 crowns in the mid to early portions of the late game? It's like not really. It's not going to, at the end of the day, give you that much of a stat difference. So it says here we want to keep different levels of quality between items, but we're tweaking what stats those items can have over their common counterparts. And we're also introducing several new potential stats. That's interesting. Not sure what that could be. Need to think on that one. Several new potential stats. So some of the rare like stat bonuses that you'll see are an increase to chances to hit the head, which is kind of like getting a crit, you know, so to speak. Um, there are maybe they'll add something. This is kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe something like increased chances to bleed, those types of status effects. Hmm, that could be interesting. That would open the door potentially for things like on hit poison effects. That could be very cool without the need for consumables and things. But anyway, getting ahead of myself. All this is to make sure that named items will always be better than their common counterparts in some significant way, and that named items feel more unique, both of which will make for a more satisfying treasure hunt. So when I think of this last line here, it makes me think of the Reproach of the Old Gods, a weapon that I recently unlocked near the end of my playthrough. And you know, in addition to just looking amazing and having those awesome stats, that lightning effect makes it feel like I'm actually wielding a powerful magical item. And it is strong. I had to jump through hoops for it and beat some of the toughest fights in the game. But it still doesn't feel broken. As strong as it is, it doesn't feel like a broken mechanic. And I think you could add in effects similar to that, but much, maybe perhaps lesser in power. You know, so that thing jumps. It's lightning that bypasses armor and jumps to 3 nearby targets. I mean, that's amazing. You could do something that applies different type of status effects. Like I mentioned, bleeding, poison, the stun effect. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do and give them a bit of an animation or a visual that makes your weapon feel like it is in fact like magical. You know, having let's say a hammer or something that looks really cool, but at the end of the day, it doesn't do anything different. And I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make them feel more special, and that is appreciated. So to offer you a broader collection to hunt for and claim as your own, the upcoming 1.3 update will also add various new named variants of existing armors. So if you look at these, first off, they're beautiful. And they're beautiful mostly because the existing armors are actually beautiful, and then they just add all these cool little details and the color. Nothing is more satisfying to me in Battle Brothers than having a group of brothers arrayed in all the different types of armors, all the different colors, and just having your guys, instead of looking like a uniform bunch like Roman legionnaires where everyone is dressed exactly the same, which it has its own like satisfaction to it, but it really lets you feel like you're a mercenary company who scrapped for armor and you saved your coin and you bought things in the markets that you visited all over the world, and that every person you have in your company is unique. And nothing makes you feel that way more than these unique pieces of armor. And this looks like the noble armor variant, which is something I almost didn't even get a chance to use at all in my last playthrough. By the time I saw one of these, it was too late. I was already past it. It would have been a sweet piece of armor early game. This looks like the heavy lamellar, but it's in gold, and I love the little like red, white, and blue stripe detail. Very sweet. And this looks like it could be. Is this a male halberd, perhaps? I'm probably wrong on that. This could be that scale armor that I never got a chance to use. It doesn't really have scaling, but it's got a little bit of like woven chainmail here that they usually like put on top of leather. I'm not sure exactly which one this one is, but I love the green. The green too is, I think, one of those colors that's kind of missing from the game. Beautiful pieces of armor, and I love the detail work. Whoop, let's not do all that. Alright. One faction that didn't have named equipment until now are the Ancient Dead. That's about to be rectified. The image below shows some of the upcoming named weapons alongside their common counterparts. That can be taken both from Ancient Dead locations and from the cold dead hands of your vanquished opponents. They're literal cold dead hands. I love this. These weapons are pretty sweet, and a lot of times if you can get them early, there's an event in the game that I've gotten to proc like ridiculously early in my playthroughs, like pre like day 20 or 15 or even something like that, where I get access to a Kopesh, and Kopeshes are a pretty brutal kind of cleaver style unit. This looks amazing. I can't even imagine the stats on this thing, knowing how good a Kopesh. I forget what the name of this sword is. It's kind of like a great sword, but check out the detail here. This looks like a snake, like a cobra of some sort. Love the little, I don't know if that's quite jade, looks more like turquoise type of gem to me. And then this weapon, I think it's called a war scythe. I haven't got too much of a chance to use these. By the time I got to the point of the game where I was getting these, I had already passed them in terms of the strength of the weapons. And I've had whole playthroughs where my back line was just completely using these weapons because I was able to take them from Legionnaires very early on. And man, I just love these little like extra touches. Not only does this blade look like super sharp and dangerous, as well as, all the rest of them, but these little like details here and here. Yeah, I love that. And it gives you more incentive to fight them in the late game. Like I've picked up some orc weapons. I have one sitting in my inventory right now, but I've definitely seen others, and they're pretty cool. These will probably be a lot easier to wield as well. The orc weapons have their negatives to the fatigue and all that, but these will probably be fine. And as you've learned last week, barbarians will not only come with their own weapons and armor, but named variants of their top weapons as well. So maybe not their armor, I guess. They have their own armor. Maybe it's they have their own armor in like an aesthetic way. I don't know if we'll be able to wear their armor. I guess we could. We'll see. But like in the same way that we don't exactly wear orc armor, that could be like a lore thing, more like the orcs are so big that how could a human wear their armor, in the same way that their weapons are so big, how could a human ever wield their weapons? And they have that fatigue penalty. That makes sense. But in any case, they're showing us some of the unique weapons. So while all of the above additions will be part of the free update, the new weapons below will be part of the Warriors of the North DLC. So have no fear, guys, if you're tight on funds, or if you're still not sure about Battle Brothers as a game, and you're worried about spending money, you can expect to get these armors, these new weapons as part of the base game. And then if you have the Warriors of the North DLC, you can expect to get your hands on some of these really brutal barbarian weapons. And their unique variants are pretty cool. I'm trying to think of which one is my favorite. Man, I gotta say, I love this kind of scroll, almost like a druid type of design etched into the side of this cleaver. I think this is their one-handed sword variant. This may be their cleaver variant. We'd have to go down and look. They showed us a lot of the weapons here. And this may be the cleaver, or this is the sword. It's hard to know which one will kind of line up with the pre-existing weapons. But this is also their armor that they've showed us before. It would be cool if we could wear it, but I would not be surprised if we couldn't. But I would love to get an entire crew just like decked out in this type of armor. But I think their armor is honestly going to suck in terms of its, pure defensive stats. And that's because we learned in one of the last updates that they also have buffs to being hurt. When they get hurt, they get jacked and tan. And when they also have like a means of almost like physical resistance, which is kind of like innate to them. So armor is not as important for them as a group. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Once again, my name is Brett and my channel is Good Talk Gaming. Hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll be bringing you more updates next Friday. Named equipment. I'm excited. I want all my guys to look colorful and be powerful. Look forward to the next update. Who knows? It might be something with a little more substance. It might be just another quick video like this. Join me on my channel if you want to watch me try and take down the Black Monolith. It's what I'll be doing today for sure. Attempting it at least. I got pretty close. But if you like Battle Brothers, if you're watching this video, you're probably already watching my series. But if not, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and check it out. And you'll get to see some of the cooler late game content that Battle Brothers has to offer. So alright y'all, take care, and I will see you in the next one.